So you think you've seen the mountains? Cute. You went skiing once, bought a $14 latte, posted a snow selfie with the caption, "Nature heals," and drove back to suburbia convinced you're basically a wilderness expert. Yeah, no. Because there are mountain towns out there so jaw-droppingly gorgeous they feel fake. Fantasy movie fake. Towns where rivers steam in the cold, waterfalls crash down like they're showing off, and bald eagles scream overhead like they own the place. Some are cheap enough to make your landlord cry. Others are luxury playgrounds where even the dogs probably have trust funds. And a few? They're so remote Google Maps gives up halfway and just says good luck. One town legally calls itself the center of the universe. Another went full Bavaria and decided every day is Oktoberfest. One has more stars in the sky than residents on the ground. But choose wrong. You're stuck somewhere with brutal winters, zero Wi-Fi, and the only grocery store closes at 7 p.m. because the cashier just felt like going home. Like this video because your Zillow history is already embarrassing, and subscribe. This channel is your break glass in case of boring life kit. Let's climb. So first up, we're in Wallace, Idaho, a mountain town so stuck in time it feels like someone hit pause in 1910 and forgot to press play. With under 1,000 residents, this place has more historic buildings than functioning stoplights. Crime? Practically zero, unless you count the guy who stole a barstool from the saloon last weekend. Cost of living? About 14% below the national average. Want to rent? You're looking at roughly $850 per month for a one-bedroom. Sure, there's no Starbucks, but locals say, one grocery store, zero Starbucks, and more ATVs than humans. That's called character, folks. And here's the kicker. Wallace declared itself the center of the universe. Yep, that's right. There's a literal manhole cover in the middle of town that kind of proves it. Take that, astronomy. But this is not all cowboy hats and nostalgia. Jobs? Limited. Winters? Brutal. We're talking 80-plus inches of snow annually. And let's talk about mornings here. A train horn blares every day at 5:40 a.m., as if the town secretly believes it's still 1887. Spoiler, it loves it. Picture this. You shuffle out of your creaky cabin, pine-scented air hits your lungs, and next thing you know, you're slipping on black ice outside ye old mining swag. Welcome to Wallace, where your adrenaline gets a free morning workout. This isn't tourist Chicagoland, or even tourist Idaho. This is weird, proudly so. Affordable, adventurous, and accidentally hilarious. And if you can survive the winters and rustic mornings, you'll find Wallace is a Wild West dream remixed with steampunk flair and a sprinkle of universe-level confidence. Bisbee, Arizona. Bisbee, Arizona is what happens when a dusty mining town gets adopted by artists, musicians, and people who probably own 3 rescue cats and at least 1 typewriter. The result? A funky mountain hideaway where every building looks like it's in a painting, and the streets are so steep you'll feel like you're walking uphill both ways. Median home price? Around $240,000, which by today's standards is practically a miracle. Rent? $800 to $1,200 for a one-bedroom. Cost of living? 17% below the national average. It's one of the rare mountain towns where you can still afford to buy art and groceries in the same week. But before you pack your boho outfits, let's talk reality. Parking? A myth. The town is stacked on hills like a game of Tetris, so you'll circle the same 3 blocks 12 times before giving up and walking. And stairs. Over 1,000 public stairs, no joke. By the end of the first week, your legs will look like you accidentally signed up for a CrossFit challenge. Then there are the locals. Quirky is putting it lightly. You'll find tarot readers, ceramic skull makers, and maybe a guy who will seriously judge your aura if you order the wrong chai. But the vibe? Pure magic. Picture this. You're sipping coffee on a balcony, the sun painting the adobe houses in orange and gold. Jazz drifts out of a tiny record shop. Somewhere, a rooster crows for no apparent reason. It's chaotic, colorful, and somehow comforting, like living inside a Wes Anderson film with better tacos. Bisbee is for people who like their mornings with coffee, art, and just enough weirdness to keep life interesting. Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Cloudcroft isn't just a clever name. This tiny New Mexico town literally sits 8,676 feet above sea level. That's higher than Denver, Flagstaff, and your cousin Kyle at Burning Man. It's the kind of place where pine forests pierce the clouds, and the air is so crisp it practically exfoliates your lungs. Population? Around 700 permanent residents. Median home price? About $275,000. Rent? Between $900 and $1,200 if you're lucky enough to find a place. Crime? Practically non-existent. Safer than 86% of U.S. towns. But let's not romanticize too fast. Winters here are brutal. Snowstorms hit hard, roads ice over, and good luck convincing your car to start before noon. Internet? Slow enough to make you question whether you've time-traveled back to 2004. And if you ask for an oat milk latte at the diner, they'll hand you a black coffee and a confused stare. Still, Cloudcroft has a vibe money can't buy. Picture this. You step outside your creaky cabin at dawn, frost crunching under your boots. Pines tower above, clouds drift lazily below you, and a deer wanders through your yard like it owns the place. It's quiet. No honking, no leaf blowers, just the sound of the wind and your thoughts finally stretching their legs. Cloudcroft is heaven if you want peace, snow, and the kind of small-town life where everyone knows you, sometimes too well. Just be prepared to trade city conveniences for nights under a billion stars and mornings where the only traffic jam involves a family of elk crossing the road. Whitefish, Montana. Whitefish, Montana is what happens when rugged outdoorsy locals and wealthy ski tourists awkwardly share the same coffee shop. It's raw Montana wilderness meets boutique mountain luxury. A place where you might see a Subaru covered in mud parked next to a Tesla with ski racks. Median home price? Around $700,000. Rent? Expect $1,500 plus in ski season, assuming you can even find a place. Crime? Practically non-existent. It's the kind of town where people still leave their doors unlocked, even if they probably shouldn't. So what's the payoff for those prices? Glacier National Park is practically your backyard. The scenery is ridiculous. Turquoise alpine lakes, snow-capped peaks, and trails that look like they were made for postcards. But don't expect city convenience. Your Uber driver is probably busy ice fishing, and the grocery store might sell bear spray next to granola bars. Tourist season here is no joke. Good luck finding a dinner reservation in January, or parking anywhere near downtown. And locals love to complain about newcomers moving in just to play mountain life for Instagram. But if you can handle the occasional side eye from a true Montanan, Whitefish is breathtaking. Picture this. You're sipping coffee on a deck at sunrise, watching mist roll off Whitefish Lake. The peaks glow pink with the first light of day. Somewhere in the distance, an eagle screeches, and you catch yourself wondering if that massive shape in the trees is a moose or just the world's biggest dog. Whitefish is for people who want rugged wilderness, but also appreciate a good craft beer after a long hike. Expensive? Yes. Worth it. Every snow-dusted, pine-scented second. Leavenworth, Washington. Leavenworth isn't just a mountain town. It's a full-on Bavarian cosplay that never takes the costume off. Every building looks like it was ripped straight out of a German storybook. Gingerbread houses, bratwurst stands, accordion music, and yes, an actual nutcracker museum with over 7,000 nutcrackers. This town asked, what if every day was Oktoberfest? And then fully committed. Median home price? Around $735,000. Rent? $1,600 plus, and that number spikes during tourist season. Crime? Almost non-existent. You're more likely to get hit by falling snow than mugged. But let's be real. Living here isn't all strudel and mountain bliss. Parking? A nightmare. The entire downtown turns into a gridlock of selfie-taking tourists every weekend. And yes, someone in lederhosen will accidentally elbow you while posing with a giant pretzel. The job market is almost entirely tourism-based, so unless you're working remotely, be prepared to serve beers in a dirndl. And don't expect privacy. This is a place where your quiet Wednesday can be interrupted by 400 people in matching Bavarian hats taking group photos outside your window. But if you can handle the chaos, Leavenworth is magical. Picture this. You wake up to alpine peaks glowing under morning sun, step outside, and inhale crisp mountain air mixed with the smell of fresh cinnamon bread. A violinist plays Mozart on the sidewalk while someone in an oversized pretzel costume waves at you. It's weird, charming, and completely unapologetic about it. Leavenworth isn't for everyone, but if you love snow-capped mountains with a side of beer and accordion solos, this might just be your strange, wonderful dream town. Ouray, Colorado, the Switzerland of America. If a Bob Ross painting came to life, it would look a lot like Ouray, Colorado. Tucked inside a dramatic box canyon in the San Juan Mountains, this town is often called the Switzerland of America. And honestly, that's underselling it. Waterfalls crash down the cliffs, hot springs bubble year-round, and every view looks like a postcard. Median home price? Around $625,000. Rent? About $1,500 per month. Crime? Practically non-existent, Disney-level safe. But this kind of beauty comes with quirks. First, stairs. Lots of them. You'll feel like you're hiking even when you're just trying to buy a sandwich. Speaking of which, yes, that sandwich will cost you $14, but at least you get a view of snow-capped peaks with it. Then there's winter, long, snowy, and not for the faint of heart. And forget big city conveniences. No Target for 50 miles, no Uber Eats, and good luck finding parking in July. Still, Ouray is breathtaking. Picture this. You're soaking in a steaming hot spring as snow falls lightly around you. Across the canyon, a frozen waterfall glistens in the sun. A deer wanders through town like it's on vacation, and the only sound is rushing water echoing through the cliffs. Ouray is pure magic if you can handle altitude sickness, expensive groceries, and the fact that everyone here seems to own better snow chains than you. But for those who want mountain town perfection, this is about as close as it gets. Taos, New Mexico. Taos isn't just a mountain town. It's a cultural mashup of ancient Pueblo history, Spanish colonial charm, and modern artsy weirdness. This is the kind of place where you can get your tarot read, buy handmade pottery, and argue about property taxes with a goat cheese farmer, all before lunch. Median home price? Around $370,000. Rent? $1,200 to $1,600 per month. Cost of living? Slightly above average, but you're not paying for convenience, you're paying for vibe. Crime? Moderate, but mostly just bad energy, not bad people. Life here moves at its own rhythm. Roads feel like suggestions, not rules. Downtown parking is a spiritual challenge, and if you need a Target within 10 minutes, Taos will eat your soul. But what it lacks in big box stores, it makes up for in magic. Picture this. The sun sets behind the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, painting the sky in surreal shades of orange and purple. The air smells like sage and wood smoke. A man in a poncho plays the flute on a rooftop, and you can hear faint laughter drifting from an adobe courtyard where locals drink wine by candlelight. It's dusty, quirky, and sometimes frustrating. The Wi-Fi may give out, and your barista is probably also a Reiki healer who casually mentions Mercury being in retrograde. But if you're looking for a place that feels alive, soulful, and just a little chaotic, Taos will get under your skin in the best way. This isn't suburbia with mountains. This is ancient meets artsy meets slightly haunted, and somehow it works. Homer, Alaska. Homer is what happens when rugged wilderness and quirky coastal charm crash together at the literal end of the road. Locals call it where the land meets the sea and the sea throws a party, and they're not wrong. Imagine glaciers, jagged mountains, and bald eagles screaming overhead like patriotic seagulls. Median home price? Around $350,000. Rent? $1,100 to $1,400 per month. Cost of living? Roughly 30% above the national average, because everything arrives by boat or plane. Crime? Low. Your biggest concern here is cabin fever, not burglars. But let's be real, Homer isn't easy living. Winters are brutal. We're talking weeks of gray skies, icy roads, and wondering if that thing in your driveway is a bear or just your neighbor's dog wearing a very thick coat. Want Thai food at 9 p.m.? Too bad. Unless you own a plane, you're not getting it. And Amazon packages? Might show up next month if you're lucky. Still, this place is magic. Picture this. You wake up to mist rolling off Kachemak Bay, fishing boats bobbing in the distance, and the distant cry of eagles echoing through the cold air. The smell of salt water and wood smoke mixes as your neighbor grills fresh halibut. Because of course they do, it's Homer. Life here is for people who trade convenience for raw beauty. It's quiet, wild, and humbling. The kind of place that reminds you just how small you are, in the best way. If you can handle isolation, unpredictable weather, and grocery bills that make you wince, Homer will reward you with some of the most breathtaking mountain meets ocean views in America. Stanley, Idaho. Stanley, Idaho is so remote your phone basically gives up halfway there and says, "Good luck, buddy." With fewer than 100 residents, this is where you go when you want to escape absolutely everything. Traffic, noise, people, maybe even sanity. Median home price? around $395,000, if you can even find something on the market. Rent, roughly $1,000 to $1,300 per month in the rare spots available. Crime, basically non-existent. You're more likely to get stared down by a moose than a criminal. But let's be honest, Stanley is not for the faint of heart. Winters are vicious. The town holds the record for being one of the coldest places in the lower 48, with temperatures plunging to minus 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Stores close early because, well, they feel like it. And forget Amazon Prime, you're on Amazon eventually. Still, Stanley's Sawtooth Mountains are jaw-dropping. Picture this. You wake up to steam rising off an icy river, the jagged peaks of the Sawtooths glowing pink in the sunrise. The air is so still you can hear your own heartbeat. A coyote jogs past your cabin like it's late for work, and for a second, you feel like you're living in a nature documentary, minus the soothing British narrator. Stanley is heaven for people who want pure wilderness and don't mind freezing eyebrows, slow internet, or shoveling snow just to reach the mailbox. If you can handle that, you'll find peace here that no city could ever buy. Last one on the list. Telluride, Colorado. Telluride isn't just a mountain town, it's the James Bond of mountain towns. Rich, rugged, ridiculously good-looking, and just expensive enough to make you question all your life choices. Nestled in a dramatic box canyon surrounded by 13,000-foot peaks, Telluride looks like a Bob Ross fever dream with better grooming. Ski runs start right from the edge of town, waterfalls roar in the distance, and there's even a free gondola that doubles as public transportation. Take that, Uber. Median home price? Around $1.7 million. Rent? At least $2,500 per month for anything that doesn't involve a roommate named Mountain Mold. Cost of living? A staggering 57% above the national average. But hey, if you can afford it, Telluride is pure magic. Crime? Practically non-existent. Mostly because no one wants to risk jail time when rent costs this much. Picture this. You wake up to sunlight painting jagged peaks gold, hop on a gondola to grab groceries, casually, and sip coffee while watching a dog ski better than you ever will. The air smells like pine, snow, and wealth. But don't let the glam fool you. Telluride has attitude. Locals hike for fun. Everyone owns at least 3 pairs of snow chains, and your $7 drip coffee will still come in a paper cup with zero apology. Living here feels like winning the lottery, and realizing your prize came with altitude sickness and a mortgage payment that could fund a small country. But if you've got the cash, or just a dream, Telluride might be the closest thing to mountain town perfection on Earth. So there you have it, 10 mountain towns so stunning they feel fake. And in some cases, so weird they probably are. From Wallace's center of the universe confidence to Telluride's luxury canyon vibes, every one of these places offers its own version of mountain magic. Whether that's hot springs, art scenes, or simply no Wi-Fi and way too many elk. But here's the real question. Would you trade fast internet and grocery delivery for star-filled skies and mornings that smell like pine? Drop your answer in the comments. Yes, no, or only if there's good coffee. Like this video, subscribe, and remember, your boring suburb won't miss you. But these mountains just might change you.